The story begins with a girl staring intently at something we don't see. She occupies a school restroom, where she dances in front of a camera. As she does, she removes some of her clothes. When the dancing is over, she exits a stall and a girl named Farah asks her what she's doing there. Farah says it's the seniors' restroom, which prompts the other girl to leave. Farah is the dancing girl's friend, asking the latter where she got a certain piece of clothing. The dancer is our main character, Zafin. She shows Farah the clothing and the girl wants to wear it. Once she does, a knock comes at the door. Zafin's friends hide in a stall, but she listens to who is at the door. A lady behind it orders that the door be opened or she will report it to the disciplinary teacher. Zafin lies about the door being stuck as she presses herself on it. Thus, she counts to 3 before she pretends to get the door unstuck. The lady gets inside, chasing Zafin while asking the hooligan what she's doing. This results in the girl standing in front of her schoolmates. The teacher beside her talks through a microphone to the students. She says the washrooms are communal areas, not their private space. The strict woman says Zafin is someone who has no respect for her school or consideration for her peers. She asks who wants to join her. This segues into her asking the seniors why they can't set a good example for the juniors. She delivers the harsh reality to the girls that most of them will amount to nothing. Also, their final exams are just a few months away. She asks them why the Chinese students get the top grades every year and wonders where the Malay students are. She thinks they are always creating trouble. Then we see the 3 friends posting star stickers in many places. Zafin puts a star on Farah's forehead to be funny. In a wilderness area, Zafin plays with a frog in the water. She wants to play a game in which whoever gets the wettest will be cursed to eat live frogs forever. So they start to splash water on each other. When Zafin falls into the water, Farah tells her she's always showing off and she got what she deserved. Now she will eat frogs. Farah says only harlots wear the clothing Zafin is wearing under her uniform. Entering her home, Zafin starts eating. Soon her mother walks in, asking the girl why she's not properly dressed. Zafin says her uniform got wet, making her mom check her backpack. She complains about it and asks her daughter if people take their clothes off in the rain. Since Zafin starts dancing, her mom takes her outside to punish her. She scolds the girl, saying she brings shame to her family. At night, Zafin wakes up. She suddenly gets out of bed due to something being wrong. She is scared in the corner, calling out to her mother. Once her mom walks in, she finds blood on the bed. In the morning, Zafin walks to school. She stops for a short time because a tiny caterpillar fell on her. She shows her kindness by petting the bug. The scene changes to someone recording a tiger from inside a car as the dangerous feline roams the street. It creates a spectacle for all the people. We see it is a video that Zafin's friends watch in the washroom. Afterward, the students are entering their class, whilst Zafin stands outside for some reason. Later, she draws indecent pictures in her notebook. When her friends join her, Farah steals the notebook and starts to look through it. This rude action prompts Zafin to slam her with a former's backpack. Farah tells her the entire school knows about Zafin's mental. Elsewhere, the girl's friends read an unnerving story about what happened to a girl named Ine, who started her menstruation. The girl became rebellious to her parents plus her teachers. One evening, she vanished and was never seen again, but many witnesses claim to have seen her in the jungle. Zafin expresses her concern about being the first to experience this. Farah tells the story that one time, her sister got blood on the sofa. Her blood was dripping everywhere. Their friend, Mariam, reads that if the blood doesn't get cleaned well, demons will follow the person. At her home, Zafin incessantly scratches her leg, which has spots on it. Then she pours water on her pad before she throws it in the trash. It makes her feel uneasy that it's still in the house, so she decides to flush it down instead. Another thing wrong is that some of her hair fell off. The girl puts them on the wall. The next scene has Zafin swinging on a tire connected to a tree. Above her, she perceives a woman sitting on a branch with bright purple eyes. It scares the girl to dismount the tire. Subsequently, she sees no one on the tree anymore. Her friends are there, whom she tries to scare by saying she saw an egg. She accuses Farah of being scared prior to bringing her to the ground. Zafin says they will sacrifice her to an egg. However, Farah pushes Zafin off. The former dares her not to do that again. She also calls Zafin a harlot. For that, she gets brought down a second time. In class, Zafin experiences pain. She raises her hand to leave the class, but the teacher does not let her go. This causes Zafin to accidentally relieve herself in the room. The teacher scolds the poor girl by saying she's not a kid anymore. Following this, Zafin is in a washroom stall and hears girls talking about how gross it was what she did. Farah is among them, the main one who says bad things about her friend. Mariam is kinder, for she says maybe they should tell Zafin. The girl hears how one of the 3 girls says she does not want to sit near her. At home, she cries in her restroom. She takes off some of her clothes, and we observe she has acquired many rashes. During her school lunch, Zafin calls out to her friends while they walk. Alas, they keep walking like they don't notice her. Their new behaviors toward Zafin gives her a hard time. Later, she removes a loose fingernail. Where all these abnormalities are coming from is a mystery. Back at school, she sees Miriam running and gets her to stop. Zafin asks if they can walk home together today. Miriam tells her that Farah says they can't. At home, Zafin's father informs her there have been more pests lately. Working with his shotgun, he asks her if she remembers helping him clean it. She says she wants to join the cadets. It could help with her getting a scholarship for boarding school. Her dad replies he will talk to her mom about it. As he is walking away, she asks if she can go with him, but he says she can't skip school. Then we see she got what she asked for. Zafin stands among other girls in a cadet uniform. The instructor orders them to start putting up their tents. She also says organization and teamwork are important. At night, 3 girls are being forced to drink a lot of water while getting circled by others. The ones who circle say that if they don't finish, their belongings will be thrown into the river. Zafin sits nearby, watching this mistreatment. When she lies in her tent, she hears growling. It makes her sit up in fear. Someone screams in another tent and all the lights turn on. Miriam tells Farah that a certain girl went to relieve herself near a tree from which she saw someone looking down at her. Suddenly, a noise takes place that scares all of them. The instructor recommends them to pray together. At this moment, Zafin looks up at the tree and sees the woman with the bright purple eyes again, sitting on a branch. In the morning, once she exits her tent, Farah sees her. She yells out that girls should not be camping in the jungle during their menstruation. She thinks they should be checked before they go on such trips. Furthermore, Farah yells that the creature from last night arrived because it sensed Zafin. The girl is becoming quite an annoyance to the one who used to be her friend. Then the instructor yells out for them to gather. She orders Farah to count all the members and the girl does. She counts 12, but there are supposed to be 13 of them. The girl, Liana, is missing. Due to this, all of them are searching for her in the woods. When Zafin's previous friends cross her, Miriam asks the former where her partner is. The meaner Farah says, "Who cares?" and wants them to keep walking. The group goes further, yet Zafin runs back to call out to the missing girl. She becomes troubled and her eyes turn purple. Soon she locates Liana standing in a tree. She tells Zafin that a lady told her the seniors would not bully her up in the tree. Zafin is curious to know what lady. She does not get her answer, for the group arrives with the instructor. Back at school, it is announced to the girls that they have successfully completed the camp session. They are commended for their achievements working as a team. The instructor would also like to give a special commendation to a certain member who showed natural leadership plus bravery, which should set an example for others. Of course, it is Zafin. While the instructor puts a pin on her uniform, Farah gives a note to a girl, who reads it prior to passing it on. The note very likely contains the bad-mouthing of our heroine. After Zafin sits, the teacher starts to read the names of students at the top of the class. The third one is Zafin, and the fourth is Farah. Later, Farah approaches Zafin, attempting to scold her by saying Zafin wants to be perfect. The girl replies she doesn't want that. Once Farah asks why Zafin wants to copy her. Zafin counters why would she want to copy her if Farah is performing below her. As Zafin cleans at home, her mother asks why she is wearing gloves. Since the girl does not want to take them off, her mom starts to do it, causing Zafin to resist. She strikes her mom down and runs away from home. The woman yells that her daughter should not bother coming back. Zafin walks alone, saying she hates them all. Then she catches a frog. She holds it with an angry face before she drops it. Zafin becomes sad because she probably squeezed the frog to its... Thus she buries the poor amphibian. In the next scene, she occupies a stall in the school restroom. She hears how several of her schoolmates walk in. They all call out to her, knowing she is there. Soon they take Zafin out, and one of them records the act. As she gets held down, Farah shows the indecent drawings in Zafin's notebook to the camera. Miriam doesn't want to take part in this, so she leaves. Farah gets on top of her past friend and calls her a who will be pregnant in a short time. She also says Zafin can be there. The girl resists, but Farah slaps her a few times. After she takes off Zafin's headdress, the mistreated girl gets away from them. Following this, 2 of the girls fall for an unknown reason. They start to suffer. We see Zafin has acquired grotesque hands. She looks angrily at Farah prior to crawling toward her to strike her down. When the other girls run out, one of them falls to suffer like the other 2. Miriam re-enters the washroom and asks what happened. Farah tells her to get away due to Zafin being sick. It doesn't take long for a few staff members to rush in to observe the chaos. They try to deal with the situation. In the meantime, Zafin runs away outside. We see she is balding on the top of her head. She stops to let out her fury. Then she jumps on a tree with abnormal speed and displays even more abnormal climbing speed. On the next day, the students sit outside in school. The teacher announces there is someone important there to talk to them. A man directs himself to the podium. First, he coughs. Second, he greets the students, who for some reason don't greet him back. This upsets him, so he demands to be greeted as Dr. Rahim. Once the students greet him appropriately, he says he is there to talk about something serious. However, the scene cuts, and we don't hear the serious matter. In Zafin's classroom, our attention is brought to two girls talking. One of them says their teacher was affected by something. Plus, the rooms on the top floor have been locked. Soon Farah enters, prompting the substitute teacher to ask her why she's late. Since she does not say anything, the teacher says he's talking to her. Zafin turns back to see Farah looking at her. The teacher tells the latecomer to meet him at the disciplinary office after class. When Zafin returns home, she rushes to eat food, yet doing it makes her vomit. Seeing a chicken outside, she runs to it. We don't see it, but we hear that she takes its. Back at school, the cadets start to march. As they do, Farah suddenly collapses. Dr. Rahim is there to offer the girl his aid. Later, Zafin is near the tree with the tire. She lies on the ground, experiencing pain. Then she looks above for some time before jumping on the tree to climb it abnormally fast again. She jumps down with a live squirrel in her hand and eats some of it. She follows such unpleasant behavior by crawling around like an animal while growling. At school, a recording of Rahim takes place. He is with the 6 students, saying they have been affected by something dark. He will try his best to drive the evil away. Once the source is found, it can be banished. Back to the woods, our attention falls on a lifeless animal. It was very likely brought to that state by Zafin. Miriam happens to be there, looking at the disturbing sight. She walks inside the woods, collecting stickers the friends must have placed in many places earlier. Somewhere there, Zafin lies in the water. She sees Miriam walking close by and sits up. Miriam yells out that she knows Zafin is there. The latter watches her, yelling for her friend to leave. She also yells she doesn't want to go back to school. Soon Zafin stands near her, and we see she has a tail plus huge hands. The next scene has the reunited friends sitting together. Zafin proposes they live forever in these woods, a statement Miriam agrees to. In Zafin's house, we observe how her father hears the argument between his wife and daughter. The mom comes to him in exhaustion, saying he has to promise her that Zafin won't get hurt. The girl lies in her bed with bright purple eyes. Elsewhere, the doctor walks through a sizable gathering of people prior to approaching Zafin's parents. Then a recording of him takes place inside Zafin's home. Farah arrives, but she refuses to sit close to Zafin. Rahim tells her to look at her friend, who is suffering. He asks Farah if she wants to help the girl. Moving along, he instructs Zafin's dad to hold her tight. He tells her dad that she is no longer his daughter, holding his hand over Zafin's head. The doctor tells the being sitting inside her that if it does not want to feel any more pain, it should reveal itself to them. Nothing happens, and Rahim announces that the being does not want to cooperate. Thus, he presents a product, saying it never disappoints. He sprays the product in Zafin's mouth, which gets her to react to it. Now she tells them to let her go. Rahim is curious to know where she will go if he listens to her. He says if he lets her free, she has to promise to never return. The man repeats the statement more firmly. Since she does not respond, he calls her stubborn and sprays her a second time. He orders the being inside her to exit in addition to asking it what the being wants. Miriam, who is beside Zafin, says her friend doesn't want anything. She wants her to be free. Due to the doctor's seeming inability to fix the problem, some people in the crowd start having their doubts about him. One of them even calls Rahim a fraud. This prompts the doctor to ask if any of them would like to take his place. To his satisfaction, no one steps forth. He puts water in his mouth and sprays it out on the closest people. They want him to leave, yet he keeps performing. His trusted associates hold down Zafin while he strikes the poor girl with a stick. Rahim says they have to beat her until the being reveals its true self. The problem is that Zafin has acquired serious strength, allowing her to fend off Rahim with his associates. She behaves like an animal, waiting to strike anyone who gets near her. The girl's hands and feet are like that of a tiger now. Rahim yells for her to stop. The scene changes to us seeing a mutilated Rahim getting thrown out of Zafin's house. The girl walks along the road in her animal form plus her bright purple eyes. Dozens of people follow her, but she runs away. Then the students sit outside at school. The teacher wishes the seniors good luck on their final exams. She also introduces the new policy that all the students must be accompanied by a guardian when going to and from school. In the restroom, Farah tells Miriam she is going to find Zafin. Miriam thinks the girl is gone. On the steps of Zafin's house, Zafin's mother sits worryingly. She tells her husband that maybe their daughter will return. She wants to wait for her. Afterward, we see Miriam lying in her bed because she hears a growl outside. She looks out of her window and smiles. She sneaks out of her house to run to the tree with the tire attached to it. There she yells for Zafin to show herself. The runaway sits on a branch with her purple eyes. Suddenly, Zafin stands behind her friend, making the latter chase her. Farah soon runs there too, yelling out to Zafin. The girl runs behind Farah, so she chases her. Once she catches her past friend, they mess around on the ground. Zafin scratches Farah's leg, getting some revenge for what the mean classmate did to her earlier. It does not take long for our transformed heroine to disappear. The concluding scene has Miriam recording Zafin, who dances with the same vibrancy she did at the beginning of the film. She now looks normal and healthy. On top of that, she looks happy.